Hello, listeners and viewers. Welcome to another episode of the People, Passion, and Purpose podcast. I have Arun sir with me, who's a coach. You've heard of me as the leadership coach, the other all the other life coach, relationship coach. But here I am very happy to bring a tennis coach to the conversation today. So sir has close to 30 plus years of experience. In teaching and coaching tennis. And he shared with me that he's forever busy. And thank you, sir, for making time amidst a busy schedule and coming to meet us on the podcast. So, sir teaches kids all the way from I think 7 years to almost around 70 years. So
3.5 years.
oh, it's 3.5 years. Yeah. 3.5 years to almost 70 years. So he also has experience running 7 centers with Mahesh Bhupati training centers, tennis training centers. Sir, if I do, make a mistake in terms of some of these nomenclatures and spaces that you worked with, please correct me if I'm wrong. But it's prior to this, we had a very interesting conversation with sir, and it flowed very naturally in terms of many aspects of life. So thank you, sir. Thank you for gracing this podcast, and you will know a lot more about Arun sir over the course of the conversation. Before we start, so I just want to ask you, sir. So how did you get started with coaching? Why tennis?
Thank you, Sunil sir, for this good opportunity to share my thoughts. And rarely people ask to share our thoughts and this thing. And it's a nice platform to have maybe good exposure and to share my experiences with other people. So to answer Sunil sir's question that how I started, actually, my father was a sportsman. He was an athletic coach and he was with Sports Authority of India. I'm having fullest gratitude to the institution where I had the opportunity to play almost all the games, right from I started off with football, then evolved to hockey, then athletics, then went on to play tennis and even basketball to some extent, and volleyball also. So almost all the games, major games I have played. And finally, when it was like I was doing my bachelor's in science at St. Joseph's College. So that was when whether I had to go on for studying or uh, to take up something else. So that is when my one of my father's colleague he suggested since he's playing tennis, he's played some these things and all. Why doesn't he take up coaching? He did not even tell directly to me. So I said, okay, that is also fine. I was fine with anything. No, only thing is I didn't want to study. I didn't want to study more. So then what was the road, you know? So that then I said, okay, let me do my master's in physical education. That was the uh, what do you call the future. So I did my master's in Annamalai University. For 2 years I was there. And then after that, I represented Annamalai University in athletics and tennis. So they're also again totally basics of physical education they teach, and so we are qualified as a physical education teacher. So from there, I took up the specialization of tennis. So tennis, what happens is we have a diploma course run by Sports Authority of India. It's a 10-month course, so we need to qualify for that. There's a written test and practical physical test, which they take 3 ways, that is fitness and even the practical of tennis, all the stroke. And so once you qualify for that, you select and then you are trained for 10 months. So that happened in Patiala. So the coaching is at Bangalore also. For 10 months, I was doing my diploma in Patiala, and that had a very good experience there. Good, the first time I was in North for for so long, and the Punjabi food was very good. I enjoyed that, and uh, and that was the time when there was a lot of curfew in Patiala because of some disturbances at that time.
Mhm.
So overall, it was a very good experience. Then actually was to go to Mumbai for my coaching assignment.
Mhm.
But what had happened was my parents were missing me for 3 years. That is 2 years of Annamalai
Mhm.
and 1 year in Patiala. So they said, nothing doing, you stay here. That is when I got a call from a club through my father's colleague. I'm indebted to Mr. MP Ganesh, who is
Mhm.
my father's, uh, he was the CEO of Ports Authority of India at that time. So he said, "There's an opening. Why don't you send your son?" My mind was set for Mumbai, but here it said, "No, no, you try this." So exactly June 10th, 1993, I started there. I just went as a thing, but started off, and it was a nice experience. Initially, every day I used to get butterflies in my stomach because we need to we need to put in our efforts from what we have learned and what experience of whatever level of playing I had. And it was so nice. Actually, I always like those experiences which would keep me really alive. Each time looking up to the session and this thing. So it was my start of that career. And I didn't know how it went by. Now it is like June 10th, I'll be completing 30 years into my coaching.
Amazing.
And that, yeah, it's actually like that. I only remember how I came into the coaching, and now I remember that after 30 years, I'm still there. in between, people came by and went by, but I remember, and people now also come and say, "Arun sir, you still here?" I said, "I don't know how."
Lovely. So, what do you
So,
think about coaching, sir?
yeah, I actually there's two things in that coaching. One is initially it's teaching, and other one is the coaching. Where in coaching, we need to make them do it. It's what I think the other person has to do it. So that is where I believe in coaching. Wherein what they have come for, they come for tennis coaching. So I need to teach them tennis what I think is the best for the person.
Mm.
So and I need to go into their thought process, wherein what do they think, how to put it across. It cannot be my thought imposing on them. So the thing is, the person or the child or even the elderly person has to relate to what I'm trying to tell, and it should be effective for them to do it. So when they
Mhm.
do it, that is where they feel okay. Yeah, what the coach says is right. So they like doing it, and when they like doing it, they actually come back. That is my intention therein, and they pursue it. That's my thinking on the coaching.
Mm. Awesome. So you are like as yeah, no, as a teacher, as a coach, you said what they are thinking. You need to understand what they are thinking and then help them through. So it's not like a mass teaching. So you don't teach it to 10 people at the same time. So you will have to go, understand every coachee that is coming in and teach them and share your experiences with them, and then so that's a brilliant space. So any anecdotes that you would like to share from 30 years of your training, sir?
Yeah. So Basically, for me, yeah, I deal actually with group coaching and individual coaching. Group coaching might be for 30 people,
Mm-hmm.
or it might be for say 2, 3 children or one-on-one.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so always it is like I always think that at the end of the class they need to share their feedback. You know, so always a child. That's a small anecdote I just wanted to share. A child, when I was trying to make them hit the ball, and normally what happens is they hit, but when they miss, this child says, "Sir, the ball doesn't want to get hit, so that's why I'm not able to hit." You know, so it was like, you know, so I could totally relate with that, because uh, I always think a ball as an entity. It's not a
Mm-hmm.
non-living thing. A racket as an entity. It is. I need to be a part. That's how I teach. Also, a racket is part of your extension of your arm. You know? So that, and then the adults again when they come in and they say, "Sir, I'm not getting this stroke." Then I relate it to them with normal life. So when we relate it to normal life, that is where they feel okay. Yeah, it is doable. And I need to do in certain time, and they understand better by those performance. By those understanding. Especially, I like the way I'm not boasting. I like the way how I put it across about learning how to drive a car.
Mm-hmm.
Initially how we fumble with the brakes, with the accelerator, then where to see, and because everything, most of the adults can relate. Like a person from 18 years to almost 70 years. So that is my main this thing. So that's how I relate things. When you relate things, it becomes easier for me to teach them also, plus for them to imbibe it and then put it into action. Because learning tennis is there are different stages. One is like anything learning you want. First, you won't know what it is.
Correct.
Then you will understand what it is. You know. Then you'll try that wherein it will be inconsistent. Then you make it consistent, and then the accuracy comes in. After that, it is put into play. So these are all the stages the one person has to progress to put certain things to work. You know. So that's mainly how I work.
Fantastic. So the ball does not want to get hit.
Yeah.
uh, Anecdote the way you share it, I can sense the passion. I can see it. So every day is an adventure for you.
Exactly. Yeah, I look for that. I think that's what wakes me up in the morning. I would say, okay,
Mhm.
I have a coaching. Okay, this person is coming,
So what,
and
sir? How's your schedule?
my schedule actually start off with almost like 4 to 4:30 in the a.m. I start off in the morning with my own
Mm-hmm.
exercises and a bit of spending time with myself. That's a me time, and I do. I do focus. I do little meditation. I actually realized that I should do more of meditation and do some stretching and then some stretching, strengthening exercises like circuit training. And then I get onto the court. So on the court, then again, uh, depending on the players, I just go about it. Of course, there are about two assistants who help me in the thing. My gratitude to them also, who help me in teaching and imparting coaching also. So And then after that, till 9:30, I'm on the court. Then come back. Normally, we used to have, before Corona, I used to have about 6 schools I used to run. Partly before that, how I started was with the Mahesh Bhupati Tennis Academy. They had assigned me this task of setting up schools tennis program. So I had 6 schools in Bangalore, which I used to do coaching. Then after that, then I think it was not viable for Mahesh Bhupati Tennis Academy. So I had to run it by myself under my banner. That I did it for almost like 7 to 8 years. And Corona came and gave me rest for that. Then again, evening 3 o'clock, I would start off with my evening session. Would go on up to like 8:30 in the evening. So that was my shift, and that is recently also from last 1 year. It has been my schedule also, like morning and evening session.
So you're fully occupied. You're eating, drinking, thinking, tennis.
Yeah. It's actually very well put up. I didn't realize when you said. I think it is like that.
I think if you're in that space for over 30 years, I think it's very natural, sir. So, over a period of the last decade, I've been into writing. So, whatever I think about, there is always a writing reference. There's something that I'm thinking about: poems, stories, metaphors. So I can only understand from you if you've been there for 3 decades. How's it for you? So what is
Like I
sir, yeah, please go on.
Like I said, 3 decades. It doesn't seem like 3 decades. I probably give it to the passion. Probably when I like anyone else, anyone who wants to pursue something and likes the thing what they do want to do, probably you call it as a passion, likes to do that. You don't know how it passes by. So that's how I think it has gone by.
And how many years do you want to continue with this, sir?
Lifelong, I want to do that. I don't want to stop anytime.
Yeah, I knew the answer. So this is like asking a question for which you know the answer for. So fantastic, sir. So what's been your experience working with, like when you said 70-year-old, I think I was a little surprised and taken aback, saying, okay, I thought tennis is something that you learn very early in your childhood, and it stays with you. So you build it through like a profession, you are passionate about it. But what changes when you're teaching somebody who's already, well past their 30s, 40s?
See, any game or anything when we take up, people only look it up as a professional level, So it may not be professional level. It can be for a hobby. It can be for what do you call curiosity? What it would be like to be a tennis player, or what it could be to play tennis. Those things attract. I think that is what should attract people, because rather than saying, okay, if I start, I have to be a professional. It's not the thing. And coming back to the question of teaching a 70-year-old, I would connect with learning new things. A person is lively until a person keeps learning. So the moment the moment they think that I know everything, it doesn't matter. It actually are surrendering to their nature. It's like, okay, I'm done with life. So learning is throughout the life, and I would connect a elderly person with what they have not experienced. Like there are certain muscles which you use during playing, which say a person who haven't played tennis, they have played any other thing, then I could relate them with these other muscles. Like a person who has played a badminton and wants to play tennis. So there is this a lot of wrist work which happens in badminton, but here in tennis it doesn't. It's not a wristy sport, so we need to check on the thing. So when I make them aware of that, there are certain trigger points which make them aware of that, and then they start playing. They play and the experience is better. And when the experience is good, they will definitely want to continue. That's my take on that. Yeah. And now, recently, I have heard of this NLP, that neuro linguistic programming. Though I have heard from few people about that and the thing, the gist is like, if one can do it, why can't I? I think so. I inculcate that into the every person.
As a coach, you're learning new things as well. So I'm sure what the way you taught certain stuff in the early 90s, the way you're teaching it now, with NLP and other things that you're bringing to the equation, a lot of things have changed. So how was it in your early part of the career, sir?
Yeah, right now, actually, one of my students was with me in the morning because she was bringing her daughter to coaching. Okay, so she was comparing, sir, what is this? You have changed your style of coaching from what you taught me and what you're teaching my daughter. I said that's how it is. You need to keep changing with time. And so earlier it used to be more regimental type. It used to be like, okay, these are the points you need to make sure that the ball goes over the thing, like shoulder turn, racket in front, follow through, backswing, all this. You have to like actually keep on putting it in your mind and other things. But now it is more of a feel. I need to feel, feel how I'm swinging, how I'm, where I want to hit. For that, how should I feel it? So that is my basis of training now, rather than earlier putting all the points and then trying to tell them you should remember about all these things. And even the methodology has been evolving. So I actually make sure that I attend to seminars. I and put in more of day-to-day experiences. I share with experiences with other coaches, and there's one thing which I feel I should share. So the thing is, coaching. I actually did not think I was coaching it. So whenever a person calls me coach, what coach? I don't know what is. I'm trying to teach tennis. That's all. So so everyone would call me coach. Then I later came to understand that coach is this one wherein he makes the other person learn it. That's how I understood coach. Even when you were saying life coach, I was thinking, life coach, how, what, So after your conversation on the other day, when we were chatting about how, so that's how I started learning what is a coach. Because frankly, I'm telling you, till that day I didn't understand. So it is like every day is a learning experience. That's it.
Awesome. So, sir, you're sharing that it took you some time to come to your own realization of what's a coach. You are a coach. So maybe my podcast is never complete without a walk down memory lane. So if you have now 30 years of experience in terms of coaching, so you got into coaching in the early 90s. You are somebody who's seen different phases of Bangalore, different phases of development in, say, your in general life. So I just want to take you back to some of your childhood experiences. So you said as long as you finished reading, you are completely okay with anything, and sports was something that was passionate for you. So what else was passionate? What else was interesting in growing up for you?
Yeah, I think for me, probably physical activity is more intriguing than anything else. I used to go for long. In my childhood days itself, we lived in and around Kaban Park and Lal Bagh.
Mm-hmm.
So anytime I used to take off for a long walk. I don't know why. I just used to take off for a long walk. Even now also I do. Uh, Probably it's to do with, probably the energy levels has given me the thing. And how the Bangalore has grown is tremendous. In my childhood days, we had plenty of space to play. And I remember, we used to have this St. Joseph's College ground where we used to just jump in and play cricket. And I remember I used to always like to go out, and even my siblings, my brother, sister, and all. So this is one incident wherein when we were in school. So my brother's holidays were later. My sister's holidays were little early or something like that. My holiday was I was in the KV, so my holiday was a little later. So what used to happen is invariably we won't be going out on vacation or something. We used to stay at home. So my mother would lock us up and say, "It's so hot outside, you're not going out." Then only at only at 3 o'clock you can go out. So around say 2 o'clock or something, she'll take a small nap. So we would change the time. That there's this time pace from 1 o'clock to 3 o'clock. We would change it and show it to my mother. You'd say, "Mama, this is 3 o'clock, so we are going out." So in her, light, the thing, sleepy, the thing she would see, and then we would go out in the sun. We would play, and we would play, this marbles, tops, flying kites, and seeing those things, it has built our skills actually.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so probably that's why I could relate to so many things around. And the park here, it was like so much of a jungle like that time, wherein we could discover anything, like right from snakes and other things. And so we could live in a harmony and things like that. But of course, nowadays it's more aware about the nature and the thing, wherein so the population also has gone up so much. So because of that, what has happened is the kind of awareness is totally different. You actually separate it out. Like if you say you have a snake in the backyard, of course, that time people used to kill snakes also, and there were people who said, no, we cannot kill. That time that was more like common nature of people. The moment you see a snake, you go and hit it, and then the snake. But there were people who said, no, it's not right to kill a snake. So now what is happening is there is a separate place for the snakes, separate place for human being, and you are not. So you don't have that harmony. So that probably that harmony is lacking. It is like, okay, these are the concrete places where humans will live. Those are the jungles where snakes can live, or there is some encagement where the stray dogs are there, or earlier dogs and all were part of the thing. Now you say, okay, the dogs are biting people, they're killing people, so they have a separate home. and humans have separate home. Of course, the people are rearing their dogs at home, but that is different. But in the street itself, you could see dogs around, and there were people who were thinking, okay, dogs actually, are deterrent for robberies, you know. But now the CCTV is the deterrent for robberies. uh, yeah, so basically, I dwelled on being having a lot of physical activity, sports. Of course, for me, following was not a sport. Not just, for improving our skills, we would go and watch. For me, indulging in the sport is more appropriate than watching hours together, sitting, lying, eating chips, and like there are. Of course, I don't criticize people being a fan about that. That is the major part of sport. The fans are who make the players, but that should inspire people to take up sport. I have seen people following cricket but not playing cricket. That's not the thing.
Yes,
They
sir,
should also play cricket. Take up the bat, go.
and that experience of playing, I think is completely gone. So I remember when I was a kid again, early 90s. There was so much of space, and even when space was shrinking, we were still very young kids, almost forever playing. I used to come, I used to finish my homework in 10-15 minutes, eat something, and then just jump to play. We used to play cricket, every other sport in there, and then just come back. So it's only because we played, we have a passion for the game, and we loved. I think we also, like you said, I think learned so many skills. We had so many adventures. There's so many stories to tell. Like rescuing the cricket ball from the all the aunties and uncles who are going to be strict. They're going to yell at you. There were many things we learned from being there. And right now, when I look at apartment kids, I feel like they have nothing at all. So they're playing in a very constricted space, and they don't learn. And they may learn life skills, but then there's so much of joy to just be there, run around, play. That freedom is completely gone. And somewhere out there, I think also the pressure is that if you stick on to something, you make sure you earn from it. So there's a lot of pressure around the earning space, that like you can't follow something just because you're passionate about it. I just want to share this with you and see, do you also get people uh, who are bent on making sure they play professionally, and sometimes they lose the joy of playing.
Yeah, actually, there are people who came and said, "I want to pursue, playing international level and national level and state level and this thing." What happens is, over a period of time, the passion dies. That is what I felt, the lacking is. Somewhere it gives into the way of like studies, peer pressure, and social commitments. Those things take over. So initially there is this parent pressure wherein it says, okay, I want to put my child to be an engineer. But of course, nowadays there is so much of ways of earning. It was not like people that time in our days itself, wherein engineer, doctor, or lawyer. These three professions. And lawyer was not considered, only engineer or doctor.
And after CA, sir, CA you missed.
Yeah, CA. Another profession is CA. But parents would only see engineer or doctor.
Yeah.
And so we would, whether we get into that or not, we prepare for that, for the entrance exams. I remember I prepared for that time. It used to called as the common entrance test was not there. You has to write for I don't know. There was some exam which would take us to the other thing. Only NDA had this entrance test, but others did not have. They used to go by the marks of the other thing. So NDA, I was preparing for NDA and all. Then so what has happened is the pressure of performance is so much that you dislike things. When you start disliking things, then you give up. That is where probably it comes in. And you need to have a lot of resources to get into that. Now you have, of course, there are this centers, tuitions, and other things. Those days it was not heard of. Of course, there will be some person who would help you. Some engineer would say, my parents would request, come and teach some maths. There would be people who think. So I was tutored for Hindi. So Hindi sir would come. He would come from Shivaji Nagar cycling. We were in Shantinagar. He would come cycling. I would be on top flying kites. The moment they would say, see, your Hindi sir is, we used to leave the kite and run and come and sit there. So basically it was like, sorry, I lost the topic. What is
You can continue. There is. You can continue. So this is about coaching. You concentrate on the ball.
So basically, what I was into is like now the people. Yeah, you're talking about people aspiring to become players. They come and the passion dies out. The passion dies out because of a lot of reasons. Like they get diverted, and people's enthusiasm about pursuing their thought process or like dream. You can call it's like short-lived. They feel, okay, I cannot do it. They come into that conclusion. They don't say that I need to persist, I need to commit, and then I see the result. And from there, again, you take it up. They just see that, okay, 1 or 2 matches I lose, it's not my cup of coffee. Let me, see something else. So because there is a lot of avenues also. Because of that, probably that is one kind of diversion. There are few people who say, okay, I want to pursue this, I'll take it to the end. That kind of the thing is there, not there. And over a period of, because of that, our coach's role becomes much more. We need to actually see that their passion is not dying down. It's a very, very dicey situation wherein you try to keep the passion, then it slips away. It's like what do you call? You have the mango with you, the mango seed, and you try to bite it, it slips away.
So I know what kind of motivational stories that your coaches get to hear. I really love the mango reference. It is so natural, so homely, something that everybody can relate to. Yeah, hopefully in the near future, if I'm interested to explore tennis, I'll come to you.
Definitely. You can anytime. You can, now that you have my number and thing, please contact me. Be free to think. I'm ready to coach anyone. It's not like a person who's aspiring for being a number one. No, anyone, even a person who's aspiring for number one, I would be coaching. A person who wants to just play tennis, I would be answering. Otherwise, also I'm open to any, because I'm open to even teaching any other sport also.
I can sense that passion very, very clearly. So another question, when you were talking about players keeping their passion, or anybody who's getting into that professionally keeping it, I am still amazed, sir. So you say it's hardly been you started in 10 days or 15 days it will be 3 decades. What keeps your passion alive? I am very curious.
I think, I know, I just like to go and, teach and see the reaction, see the, when a person responds, says, okay, sir, I like the day, I like this session. Or they say, oh no, I didn't like this session. I don't want to do this anymore. I like to hear that more. So it's a challenge for me. Okay, if they say I don't like to sing it, then I have to get them back onto the track by saying this is not because for them they create a mental block by themselves, wherein they say, okay, no, this is the reason I cannot. So when they come back and say, okay, this is why I can't, I don't want to continue, probably my challenge is to, okay, that is not the reason. I have to make them do and get back to playing. So that makes me feel okay. It's a new thing every day. No, when you do new thing every day, you feel like doing it again and again. And probably that is what keeps me going.
Mm. So there another interesting question that came to me. I think I feel it is interesting, and I leave you to that. So we've seen at least I am a very strong cricket fan, not so much in terms of football. And if it's only Nadal versus Federer, most of the time I'm glued to the set. As a coach, when you're teaching, you're with them, when they're practicing, playing. But when they're in a tournament or when they're in an actual match, you're seeing them do things that very differently, or they're doing things right, they're doing things wrong. What goes? How can you switch off the coach and just be a spectator?
Yeah. So basically, it's not when I take a person for the tournament, it's not just that the tournament I'm prepared for. I'm I'm preparing them right from the beginning, right from the first day they play tennis. I would tell myself and the child or the player that it is that person who is going to play. It is not me who is going to play. You know. So when a person grows up like that, even it is a tournament or whether it's a practice session, it is the same. But I will make sure there is a lot of interaction with them. I would say, okay, because see, nowadays anyone you cannot impose things. Like earlier, if in our days we would whatever the person says, 100% we would listen. We will never question. But now the children are exposed to so many things that they are. Those days itself, they were told to say why I have to do that. Now it's not why also. It is this is how it is done. Why are you teaching me in this way? So they should ask the question. So in the tournament also, before the tournament, you can think this is a situation. It is for you to handle. It is not that I'm here, so you need to look up to me. But right now, the situation in a lot of tournaments is that they look up to the parents and coaches. The players playing, they always look up to the coaches and the parents because they want. But that is not how the sports should be. So it should be like before or after you discuss and let the child play. So what happens is child or even adults play. What happens is because right now all even there are veterans tournaments which are happening. I'm actually coaching a person who wants to be ITF player, and she's done good. She was a runner-up in this two tournaments. One was in Bangalore and one was in Muzaffarnagar. So she was a runners-up. So even when they are playing, it is more before the tournament what I have to tell and what's after that matters for me rather than saying, okay, in the match, I need to put my head and then this thing. Because that is a person who's playing, that is a person who is enjoying playing, who likes to be competitive, you know. So for me, it is not a pressure watching. Of course, it would be like, oh, he could have done that, he could have done this. But that one is a feedback after the tournament, you know. So that's how I look at it as a coach to player.
Yeah, so it was, I think the question was on similar lines. How is it possible for you to switch off being the coach always and then be the spectator? I like the way you shared it in terms of, you tell them right from the beginning that, you are the one that's playing. And I completely understand the scenario these days in terms of parents, the young ones looking up to the coach, looking up to the parents. Sir, one more question in asking in terms of how difficult is it to get to a place where we are Leander Paes, Mahesh Bhupathi, Federer, Nadal, Djokovic. How difficult is it, or how easy is it?
Yeah, it's actually it requires a lot of commitment. It requires a lot of hard work, and it's not just a single hand effort by the player. It's a whole team which has to think. See, now actually India is looking up in sports in that manner, wherein there are a lot of small tournaments which are happening, then leading to next level. Uh, that way, they are getting an exposure. All thing. Now, if you see, even I happened to see a video of archery, a 19-year-old boy who has
Correct.
won the, you know, it's a world championship, I think. So he's done India proud. So he must have done single-handed effort, and there is a team effort also. So it actually they all should be in sync. So that is when the player comes up, and now India has got a mass production of people who take part in sport. So that way, now maybe India is passing through a golden era of sport, wherein in future they would dominate sport. That is one thing I can assure you, because you could see the players winning in javelin, and they are winning gold medals in Olympics. So I feel it is more of attitudinal change which is brought into the system, and it has got a bright future actually. So when we see that, so there will be a lot of players coming up. It's maybe a matter of around say 1 or 2 years, we'll get a lot more sportsmen thing. So it's not about how easy or how difficult. It is about encouraging everyone, and from there, see, if 10 people play sport, one person is going to excel. That is how it is. If I want to excel, I need to put in that consistent effort till I reach. Till I reach, I need to persist with what is required. So that's how a sportsman should be.
And in terms of this, sir, so I've heard this many places. India century is on the cards economically, in terms of, even also in terms of opportunity and all of that. So how can you can let me know if it's already been done. How can tennis reach beyond, say, the cities? Go into Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 3 areas and colleges, schools.
I think it's already reaching people in rural areas. Only thing is, people aspiration is lesser. Like, people from rural areas, they only say, okay, I want to play sports till I get a job, or this thing. And because see, now internet has made it easy for everyone. So it is earlier the information was not reaching rural areas. Now it is rural areas, it is reaching, and there is more awareness of sports, and more people are taking up to it. Only thing is the exposure we should give, probably for urban people, uh, some nodal point, like smaller districts and all, some nodal sports has to be done, because in that level, and then only you can attract the people from that area. Supposing you are doing sports in, say, Hubli or somewhere, those people, sorry, if for people of Hubli, they have to come to Bangalore, Mysore, or somewhere to take part. I have seen so many people from Hubli who are coming to Bangalore and trying to make their livelihood in sport. But if you encourage people in Hubli, they would be a lot more sportsmen. There are people looking up, and so maybe I seen like in Tamil Nadu and all, they have district wise, but in Karnataka, it's little lacking. Because other states also there are, but I feel Tamil Nadu is much more ahead in sports, grassroots level sports, I'm saying. So though people are taking up sports, the technology and the coaches availability and the tournament accessibility, this has to be in those places, Hubli, Belgaum, and Dharwad and all. They have so many people coming up to Bangalore and making career out of, and they stay back in Bangalore, but they're not able to impart their experts in their own area. Yeah, so probably those way they can help in rearing a lot of sportsmen for the international events.
Interesting. So local for local, and like people come to one place, then they go back, they become the nodal point of then sharing expertise.
Yeah.
But it's heartening to hear, sir, that people are coming and looking at sports as a career, sports as a full-fledged profession. So I personally know of a few people who are brilliant in terms of their swimming, their athletics, and then standard 10, everything is gone. Like until then, I do it. After that, studies, and that's the end of it.
Yes.
Very happy to hear from you that there are people who are taking this seriously and are also encouraged at home that you can go ahead and do this. Fantastic. So, sir, a few more minutes in our conversation. I heard also that you are passionate about running. You've been on treks in Bengal. How's that experience been, and coaching and running? So, how does running bring you joy?
Yeah, so like I was saying earlier also, it's more of me being physically active than watching sport. Probably that is taken me into doing things like trekking and all. I like to do new things. So trekking, then I go for 5K running. Not more commercial, like it's more for my I have done it for record's sake. It's like my personal satisfaction. I do that, and so because of that probably I'm not able to specialize in one thing. So a person when you're there, he need to be totally active in sports. This activity in sports will lead them to keeping their brain cells alive by learning new skills. So it keeps them young and healthy. So that is my inspiration to see. You keep learning till you can. When the brains are active, because you're learning new things. When you learn new things, it keeps you young also.
Absolutely. Like I think that's something that you shared even in terms of your coaching journey, in terms of the other spaces that you've been, that you're learning, everything is new every day is a new adventure. So amazing to hear of that. So, any other anecdotes from your childhood, from your tennis experience, from your life experience that you would like to share? The forum is open for you, sir.
Well, I think I have shared almost all of them. So what happens is when you have the passion, there are irritants which come in between. You know, when you have passion for. So I was actually talking to my student and other thing. They're saying, see, life has turned so much. It has turned, and I have gone through so many things. Yeah, actually, life will give you through things that you cannot just keep sitting and having to do with the same thing again and again and again. It is going to throw new things, so you absorb it in a new way because it is coming to teach you a lot of things in your life. In my life, not only in everyone's life, in my life, I take it like that. It's trying to teach me something, because culture, we are not thrown into exposure at a time, or the parents are not exposing us to different things. In stage by stage, it has been a thing. So I think that is the beauty of life, wherein you, at what age we are to be exposed, we are exposed. But what beyond that thing, then after that, after certain age, maybe in schools you are taken care of. Then once you find a job, then that is when you are going to take up your own life. You take up your own stand in life. You're taking control of your life, and then gradually, then the once maybe you have a longer career, or you have a marriage, you have children, or you have success in your career, you become CEO. So all this is part of your life, part of growing up. You actually mature along the way. That all happens through learning only. Passionate of trying to be learn, keep on learning. So I feel that has to be understood by everyone.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you for your time, sir. Thank you for your time. You're sharing your passion, sharing some of the stories. I think I'll remember that the ball does not want to be hit, for a very long time.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, Sunil sir, and it was nice actually to
Absolutely,
have
absolutely.
given me opportunity for
Yeah,
sharing my experiences.
absolutely,
And
sir. Thank you so much
yeah,
as well. Thank you for
yeah,
your time, gracing me with this. And I'm absolutely sure that if there are anything as questions that come up for my viewers and listeners, that you would be happy to share your experience,
definitely,
your stories.
definitely. I agree.
Yeah. And so if you're looking for a tennis coach, you know whom to meet right now. Absolutely,
Nice, nice.
sir.
Yeah,
Thank you for
yeah.
thank you for
Thank
your
you.
time. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Thanks.